Ladies and gentlemen, imagine that you're at a mall. You're shopping at your favorite store, looking at a beautiful article of clothing, when all of a sudden you hear a large commotion behind you and you feel a slight scratch on your tush. You turn around and you realize that a clothing rack has fallen over and you think that maybe one of the coat hangers scratched your tush on the way down. You think nothing of it, and 20 or 30 minutes later though, the pain continues and you're thinking, what's the big idea? Well, then you realize you have blood on your fingers and you say, oh my goodness, this sucks. Well, unfortunately for you, you have been a victim of the butt slasher. Now, this might sound a little ridiculous, but what you just imagined actually happened, and I know because it happened only 20 minutes from my home in D.C. There was a Fairfax man who was traveling around malls in the local area slashing women's butts. He was caught. In this speech, I will tell you what happened and how he got caught. According to a Washington Post article on August 10, 2011, the perpetrator was 40-year-old Johnny D. Guillen Pimentel. The article then goes into depth on the attacks. Pimentel traveled to different malls in the local area, and he created a distraction, usually knocking over the clothing rack that would occupy usually a teenage girl or a woman in her early 20s. When this woman was distracted, he would then take a box cutter or a razor and slash their tush. In total, there were 9 reported incidences. And when interviewed, the victims initially thought that the coat hanger had scratched them, but then when the pain continued, they realized, oh no, something more serious has happened, and they contacted authorities. Luckily, though, no individual was seriously hurt. On average, the wounds were about 1.5 inches long. Another Washington Post article on September 7th had in-depth detail on the attacker. Pimentel was a Fairfax City resident who came from Peru to the United States 8 or 9 years ago. He was a day laborer, and he had 1 son. However, 2 years ago, he was in a difficult breakup with the mother of that child, which may have caused some psychological damage and may have caused him to act out in such an odd and unusual manner. Another article from the Fairfax City Patch, dated January 12, 2012, gave a list of the attacks. One was July 25th at a Fair Oaks Mall at Forever 21, June 18th, Tyson's Corner Mall at an H&M, and another on May 16th at a Fair Oaks Mall and an Ann and Taylor. However, do not worry, this man has been caught. CBS News reported that on Friday, January 13th, he was arrested by authorities. However, he wasn't arrested in Virginia where it occurred, not here in Western Ohio, but in Lima, Peru. Now, I think what makes it so interesting is that this was apparently so serious an issue that this man felt he had to flee the country. And then on top of that, authorities chased him all the way down to Peru. So now you know the story behind the infamous butt slasher. You know what happened and how he got caught. Ladies and gentlemen, I now want you to imagine that you're back at that mall looking at that beautiful article of clothing, except this time you can shop peacefully and without any distractions thanks to this nation's police force.